Just want to remind us that we stand on such a rich foundation. I talk about it all the time, the foundation that we inherit. And when we're looking at 2020, the foundation that we make is not just the external things that we do, but it's also our internal heart. I just want to read some of these things from that. This is what all the clergy and participants were given at the conference. And there's two parts to it. But by UPF, the Family Federation, the Clergy Conference, the Sunhawk Peace Prize, a lot of different details. But the overall purpose in our mission in life is to build the heavenly kingdom, right? Right? That's what we're here for, is to make a good world, a world of true love, a world of true peace. We want to be connected with God. We want to connect with the people in our lives. We want to have a good relationship with the stuff of creation, right? The three great purposes and blessings in our life. So here it wrote down the purpose is to establish a world of peace and unity among all peoples, races, and religions. That's the starting point, right, for building the heavenly kingdom. To equip individuals with the knowledge needed to develop a personal relationship with God and with each other. This is what we're about, right? And this is our ongoing work and our ongoing exercise. So then the ideals that we're focused on, again from here, we're the Family Federation for world peace and unification, right? So the three core ideals are family, the relationship, peace, centered on God, and unity and harmony. And the ideal is that with God as our heavenly parent, then everyone shares the same and equal divine value. We're all unique. We all have different qualities and different characteristics, but we all have that divine value from God. So then our mission, again, I'm just going to read it straight from the program. By working together with affiliated organizations, partners in the professional world, and interreligious organizations, we seek to collaborate and find practical ways to improve humanity's relationship with the environment, each other, and improve our understanding of the cosmos, ultimately bringing about a world of peace and prosperity. Acting on God's behalf with intentional acts of love, we can expand the culture of heart in the world. That's the bottom line, right? That we act in our life on God's behalf through intentional acts of loving and caring for the people in our life, the people that we interact with, cultivating a culture of heart. So when we talk about building the heavenly kingdom, it's about building a world of heart based on the foundation of love with our relationships and starting with our connection with God, our Heavenly Parent. So here's from True Parents. It is important to learn how to expand the stage of our life through our own personalities. So we can proudly say, my life's purpose is to reveal God's will. I am living for the sake of God's will, and this purpose will guide my daily life, inspire my worldview, and direct my entire existence. So God's will, God's purpose, is love. So love is at the core of everything that we do in our life. Now, our life should be about revealing God's love in our relationships with the creation, with each other, and be guided in the things we do by a heart of attending God and in feeling God's love and God's presence. So this is the essential foundation when we talk about building the kingdom of heaven. It's a foundation of heart and a foundation of love. Now, I plan on going a lot into this, but basically just to remind us that everything in building things in our life has two parts, the internal and the external. And even we talk about the principle of restoration, the foundation of faith and the foundation of substance. Those are restoration terms. But that was also part of God's original ideal. So the principle of creation rules. So the internal comes first. That means we have to have the attitude, the heart, and the perspective for our direction before we can do anything. So we lay the foundation with our attitude, our heart, our goals, like children share. The internal part, right? Our internal goals in our life. Creating the conditions and environment. So this is why we have a practice of prayer and devotions and making conditions like sacrifices and indemnity conditions and offerings. And most of all, our internal condition is our connection with God. So this is an internal foundation. All these successes that we just saw about, in Mother's world tour and the victory in New York and New Jersey, came on an internal foundation. So even sometimes we seem like, oh, gee, I'm not out there doing this, that, another thing. If we're making internal conditions, we're making a foundation that God can use. And then the second side of that, of course, is the external, the physical world stuff. Actions. Now, you can spend time praying, but put those prayers into action. That's the physical side. Our service, devotions, the relationships. This is the external side of building God's kingdom. Even if you think about the dynamics of health and healing in our life, there's these two aspects. That there's the internal and the external. Family pledge, right? Number 5, to unite the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners centered on true love. This is part of our core mission, is uniting the internal and the external. So when we're dealing with healing in our life, there's the external stuff like the medicine, the exercises, the diet, the things we do. But our internal heart and attitude is very powerful in affecting our recovery in the healing process. So remembering the internal and the external. And then just the last thing I want to talk about is just, anyone familiar with the TV show? It was like in the 80s, and I think they did a reboot in this century, 2016, of MacGyver. You know the expression MacGyver? So basically, he's a guy who's just super persistent. He never gives up, and he's extremely creative and improvising to find solutions to all kinds of problems. His main tools are duct tape and a Swiss Army knife, right? So I actually have never seen any of the shows. But the expression to MacGyver something means to work it out. And I've been thinking about God and God's providence. That God is the biggest MacGyver. He looks, and God takes any condition God can claim. So sometimes we're stumbling along saying, oh boy, God going to be able to use any of this. God looks and claims every victory God can from our lives and uses that to move the providence of healing and restoration forward. So even we're stumbling along and we're doing what we're doing, but always have the heart of I want to offer everything I have, even if I am a little bit embarrassed that that's all I have to offer. But offer it genuinely. Because those are the internal conditions that God is using, that God is claiming. It's hard to even comprehend the kind of foundation and that was made by the True Mother's work and the foundation. And we have Sao Tome. We have the victory there, Sao Tome Principe. Then in Cambodia, Taiwan, Niger, South Africa, Palau, and then in the Dominican Republic. National level blessing ceremonies that were held. That God could now claim those as having a condition as Chonoguk nations. And all that was a foundation for the victory last weekend in New York and New Jersey with the establishment of the World Clergy Leadership Conference. Now we're moving ahead to the World Summit, which is in February. World Summit 2020, bringing together the external and the internal. So on the external side, of course, we've got the IAPP, the Parliamentarians for Peace, the political world. We've got the IAPD, which is the religious interfaith world, International Association for Peace and Development. There's going to be a media conference, right, for the media world. There's a conference of academians, like the Professors World Peace Academy, bringing that aspect together. And then also business and enterprise and entrepreneurs. 5 realms that we need to work together to build the heavenly kingdom. So our prayers, our offerings, our conditions. I'm grateful for your help with the financial support and donations. All of this makes a difference. We are building God's ideal, and we're doing it God's doing it in a MacGyver way, pulling together everything that God can from all the offerings that we make. So this year, let's make better and better quality offerings that God can claim for building the heavenly kingdom. So I want to close with, this is the message that was from a true mother in the beginning of the pamphlet to all the participants. It begins with, thank you so much for being a voice for peace. This is what she wrote. God, our Creator, designed this amazing universe and made all things in His image. Yet, as God's children, we find ourselves in an environment that is far from ideal. This rally for world clergy, I want to emphasize the vital position that you play as peacemakers to attend God and help establish the heavenly unified world. True peace cannot come about solely through human-centered efforts, ideologies, or regulations. We must recognize the importance of religious people to work together, with Christianity playing a central role in order to recreate the ideal world. On this current world tour, from Africa to Asia to Europe, I have given one message. God's will and the worldwide providence for peace can only come through true love, true families, and the marriage blessing. I believe this is the only way to true happiness. We need to see humanity as one global family by welcoming our Heavenly Parent into our hearts, our minds, and our souls. This path alone is the destiny of humanity. Thank you for joining us today. Let us bring peace to the world, and let it start with each one of us. May God bless you. Amen? Amen. I'll do that then. Let me offer a prayer. Good morning, Father, Mother God, our loving Heavenly Parent. We are so grateful for your presence in our lives and the way that you're working throughout the world. Heavenly Parent, we want our lives, each one of our lives, to be offerings that you can use to move your providence of restoration and healing forward. Please guide us in our actions, and especially we're starting a new solar year, and soon we'll be beginning a new heavenly year with the God's Day and the lunar calendar, Heavenly Parent. But all these things, we want to focus our heart and mind on you, on your purpose and your will, so that we can multiply your love and your goodness in the world and the environment around us. We pray that you can work powerfully through us to be a blessing to others. We're so grateful for all the testimonies that we had today, the chance we could hear and share in their experiences with our true parents and with you, Heavenly Parent. We want to offer up this day, our time, this new year, Heavenly Parent, to you as your grateful sons and daughters. We report this together. Amen and adieu.